What up, you little goobers? And today we're doing a quick little guide on Yone reroll, or the Yone comp. This is my most played comp on the current patch. I've gained quite a bit of LP. With a Yone 3-star, I have an average of 1.8, and I play a few different variations. I actually think I play a little bit different than I see most people playing it. But yeah, I'm playing around Grandmaster Elo, and I just thought I'd share this with you guys. Hope you guys can get some LP, and this is a really fun build. I just started playing it because I wanted to have fun, and then I started climbing a lot with this dude, and so here we are. So what is the indicator to play Yone? I don't think you should hard force this comp. I don't think it's strong enough to hard force. However, I think if you do build some of these items, there are some, like, you can play like an 80 flex playstyle. So my playstyle on the current patch is I play 80 flex every game, and I look to play reroll comps, or I go to, so that's kind of a lie. I try to build IE and Even Shroud, and generally I will try to play 3-cost reroll comps like Yone, Country Reroll, that sort of thing. And then, or if I have like a Giga opener, I will just forsake everything and then I go fast 9. That's my play style right now, and I'll just play whatever legendary I get for whatever items I get, slam all items. With everyone open 14 and that sort of thing, it's kind of easy to go fast 9 sometimes. So I really like that. I don't like opening and just doing the 4-1 lottery with everyone else playing 80 flex, but if you are open to playing that play style, which is what most people are doing on the current patch, if you're watching this later, then none of this means anything to you, then you can just build an Even Shroud IE and just have this build in your back pocket while you're flexing to play Ezreal, Caitlyn, that sort of thing. But if you're in a position not to play that, or you see other people have already hit, then you can default to Yone if you just built these 2 items. I think these are great for 80 flex. However, if you end up building these 3 items, Yone's items, and this is Yone's BiS, i.e. Hodge, and Titans. Titans is not a very good item. I do not recommend slamming this, but if you end up slamming this early on in the game just because you're like, I'll play Yone, be willing to play Country Reroll. That is one of the only other comps that can support these 3 items, is Country Reroll, because you can put the Titans and the Hodge onto Urgot, and then you put your Infinity Edge onto your Samirat. So if you end up building these items, be willing to play that, or Riven reroll as well. But you know, we're gonna be playing Riven in this comp anyway. So what I have shown onto the board here is the units that you'll play every single game, pretty much no matter what. If you're playing Yone, you'll play these 3 for your Edgelord, no matter what chosen you have. And then you'll play Mordekaiser for Pentakill, and you'll put your Even Shroud on Mordekaiser. You have to have an Even Shroud in this comp, or you cannot play the game on the current patch. So yeah, this is what you'll have every single game. And to like, how should you kind of play early game? Now, again, if you guys are watching this on 13.25, everyone opens, and it's kind of a weird environment. It's kind of not normally, but I always like to have an econ augment first and play for economy, and then we will roll for this board. If we can go at an early level 7, we will slow roll on 3-5. Try to play some Heart Seal on stage 3 and stage 2 if you can. Get an extra econ advantage, or have an econ augment, and then we slow roll on 7 for our 3 stars. That's typically what we'll do. However, if you get a tempo opener, meaning you start the game with like an IE Hodge, like you start out with those items, like those are good items, and you get a Yasuo chosen, totally, you can just play Edgelords and tempo into a 7, and then once you're level 7, sell your Yasuo and then roll for your Yone chosen. And you can play either, you can play any Yone chosen except for Heart Seal. Unless you're at Giga Forehead, you can play Heart Seal chosen sometimes. So those are the indicators, and that's how I kind of play the early game. So let's talk about some of the variations. And again, I know I'm just kind of talking at the camera right here, but if you guys want to watch some of my gameplay, I stream every single day on Twitch. And I have loads of Yone VODs actually on my Twitch channel. So I'll link some of them in the end card of today's video. Okay, so this is the Edgelord version of the build, and this is actually the build I play most often. And a lot of people, like especially people come in my chat, and I'll see a lot of people talk about Yone. They really think he can only be in the Crowd Diver variation, but I play this one like I don't think I've even played the Crowd Diver version in a while, like a really long time. This is the version I almost always play. Just I end up getting Edgelord chosen. It's just what I always end up getting, and this has been very successful for me. Again, with a 3-star Yone, my average is 1.8 with like 10 games. So this build is pretty solid. Okay, so this is what our comp will look like on level 7 if you get Edgelord chosen pretty much every game. Now, sometimes you'll hit an early Kayn, and that can be a little weird, and that can change your comp somewhat. Maybe you can go 7 Edgelord and not play Crowd Diver, but I really like Crowd Diver. So generally, your board will look like this if you have Edgelord chosen, and what you'll do is you'll slow roll on 7, just like we talked about, and you'll roll for Riven 3-star, Yone 3-star, and you can hold Mordekaisers. It's really, really, really hard to hit Mordekaiser 3-star. If you're really far ahead, you can look for Kayle 3-star as well, and that's fine. And we want to be slow rolling on 7 for sure, so we can hit our Viegos and our Zed. If you are really far away from Riven, These are Riven's itemizations that I really like. Her items are less important. Just make sure you get Yone's items. Just give her the leftover AD items. Give the AP trash to Kale, and then I kind of like these items on Viego, but this is kind of some late game stuff. If healing reduction, you can just put on Kale. It doesn't have to be on Viego, but I love these items on Viego. It's just such a good utility once you hit him. But if you are really far away from hitting your Riven 3-star, just be willing to put your leftover AD items onto Zed, and Zed can pop off pretty hard if you get him 2-star. So if you get an early 2-star Zed, just itemize Zed and don't worry about Riven too much unless you think you're going to hit your Riven for sure. And so here's what the Edgelord version looks like. Let's talk a little bit about augments here. So March of Progress, I think, is one of the best augments to play in this build. I think this build is like not very augment dependent, and I'm going to miss some of the ones that you guys might think are at Giga OP. I just really don't think about augments too much when I play this comp. It's a comp that I default to a lot, as I said. But I really like one economy augment. March of Progress is like the best probably because this augment is made for slow rolling on 7. And then after that, I really like to have a healing augment. Vampirism is very good, especially because you'll be slow rolling. You'll get quite low health while you're slow rolling on stage 4. Don't freak out. Once you hit your Yone 3, as long as you're on 2 lives, that's pretty stable, like 20 health, something like that. I really like Three's a Crowd. There is a Three's a Crowd build that I'll show you guys that I played. I have a VOD of that. It was a wacky game. So this Three's a Crowd is pretty good too. Just with this comp, you have 3 people who can activate it, but you can do some really cool stuff with it. So generally, I just like 1 economy, 2 combats. Indomitable Will is great. Getting a Banshee's Veil is great. Then you don't have to build QSS or anything like that. And Vampirism is awesome. Vampirism is great. So extra healing, just extra combat power is going to be good. And the Executioner Augment is pretty good as well. Or not the Executioner Augment, I mean the Edgelord one. So here's what this looks like, and we just slow roll for this board on 7. GG, pretty easy. Here is the Crowd Diver variation. This is what you'll be slow rolling on 7 for, and obviously we'll switch this out for Kiana as soon as we can. Hold an Evelyn on your bench because you're capped at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 7, isn't it? Yeah, this is 7 because your cap on 9 is going to be 6 Crowd Diver. The 6 Crowd Diver vertical is very strong. So make sure you just hold 1 copy of Evelyn on your bench if you do get the Crowd Diver variation while you're slower on 7. You'll look for a Yone 3-star and then probably hold Mordekaisers for 3 stars because, you want to hold multiple units. This variation of the build, I think it's a lot easier to hit Yone. Like sometimes I'll end up going 8 when I play this because you're not rolling for a lot of 3 cost because you're just getting the 4 cost and getting Kiana on your board is very, very, very powerful because Zed can kind of carry you. So when I play this, sometimes I won't slow roll on 7. I'll go 8 after I hit my Yone 2 and I kind of like, I roll it down on 7. I get pretty stable. So sometimes I go 8 when I play this version and just so I can play around Zed as well. And but one thing to think about, if there is a country reroll player in the game, they are going to be taking up all of the 3 costs. They hold all of them. And if there's a Jax reroll and they're holding a lot of Luxes and sets and that sort of thing, then it's a lot easier to hit your Yone. But if there's not other people 3 costs rerolling, I'll just look for my Yone 2 and then I'll go to 8 and play more around Zed and look for my Yone 3-star on 8. And then again, if you're really far ahead, usually just this comp, if you get Yone 3-star Z2, this is going to be good enough to top 4 for sure. And then if you get far enough ahead, if you can go 9, get Kiana in, or if you have an augment like the one that gives you like new recruit, like the one that gives you an extra spot on your team, then going 8 and then getting your 6 Crowd Diver in is very, very strong. So a new recruit is also a good augment in this variation of the build. And this is kind of what it looks like. You play for Zed and Yone and that sort of thing. All right, now here is a very interesting version of the build. I played this. This was really weird. This is a really hyphy version of the build that I played the other day, and that's in my one of the VODs. I'll link you guys at the end of the video. This is a Three's a Crowd build, and this is only playable if there's no country reroll player in the game. Because you will not be able to play this because you were actually playing for Yone and Samira 3-star, and then we can also play for Urgot, but we're not going to itemize him. He'll get the 3rd items, We'll make sure and itemize these 2 first. So you need to have an even shroud as always, goes on your sets. And the core that you'll play around are going to be minus Zac, because this is a level 8 board actually, but it gets really strong on level 8. Minus Zac, this is your board. Riven, Urgot, Set, Yone, Vex, Samira, Katarina. And we get Country, Edgelord, Bruiser, Crowd Diver, Executioner, Mosher, and we have so many 3 costs. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are giga tanky. So I only play this when I have 3 as a crowd and there's no country reroll player. But this is quite good. Once you get your Samira 3 or Yone 3, this thing pops off like crazy. And in this variation of the build, an item like Sterax is extremely good onto Yone. Lastly, I'll just talk about a couple things here. I'll talk about itemization and positioning, I guess. So as I said, at the time of making this video, Gigabis on Yone, typically, I'll just go to a normal build, is this. But if you end up building an Edge of Night or you end up building a QSS or a Sterax, that's acceptable. It's fine, especially if you're from a lead. But if you want to Giga first, these are typically what I really like. So the logic here is Titans helps you deal more damage. Yone always will stack his Titans, and you want to go IE Hodge versus like BT plus I don't know, another item. Because the logic is you deal more damage, you heal more. So this actually makes him more tanky by dealing more damage because he has such innate Omnivamp. Whereas Riven doesn't have a lot of innate tankiness, innate Omnivamp. So you actually need to guarantee the Omnivamp. That's why a unit like Riven requires BT QSS +1. That is more of what you want rather than what. Just explaining why Yone's items are a little bit different here. Positioning, if you want to position Edgelords, you guys don't know how to position Edgelords, you just put them on the wings in front of their carry typically, and it needs to be behind your dude right here. So the only time I ever actually position directly on the wing right here is if I'm not afraid of my guy getting one shot, like I'm not versus an Ari. Like if it's like a Caitlyn here, like Caitlyn's not gonna one shot me. But Ezreal will. I don't want Ezreal targeting me. So sometimes I'll position directly on the wing like this. However, if you have an Edge of Night, I always position on the wings because it just guarantees that they'll move in here a little bit better. They won't get like stuck here. A unit walks here and then they dash here. Like you want them to make sure they dash up here. But general positioning, you'll go just behind your even shroud like this, and you can like double up the wings right here. But if you do like that and then you verse a Sentinel player, your Riven will deal 0 damage. So I usually just like to have them on the same side, have my Kayle behind them to help them chew through this front line and that sort of thing. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys can climb with this comp. I love playing this comp. It's really fun. I think it's slightly underrated. It's pretty good. It's my default comp that I try to play most games, but you know, you got to be willing to play flexibly on this set. So I do not recommend hard forcing, and good luck in your games. Have a good one, fellas. See you, little goobers.